Hello and welcome back. Today is part 2 of my travel trailer chicken coop conversion. I've been out scrounging and I picked up this paneling. Most of it's in good shape to do the ceiling. That's what I'm going to use to cover up the ceiling. It'll tuck in this fiberglass, and I may have enough to do that wall over there. As a matter of fact, there was enough there, but somebody got to it before I did. And today we're going to start working on this. I have to build up this section right here. And the transport to get in this home, that side opened up. And the reason it opened up is that the wood was missing in that corner. Johnny, move that board. This is what should be there. And these pieces would have been reinforced in there. But over here, there wasn't any wood. So the bouncing around opened it up. In addition to that, this floor rotted out over here. So today, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go underneath and see what I have to do to attach this wall to the trailer. Back there, we're in pretty decent shape. Once I get this connected to the bottom, my next step is to cut out the framing for this corner. I want to frame this out, and then I'm going to start on this wall. You can see over here how this rotted out. So I'm going to leave this piece in and just attach to it and go up. Then once I have this up, I have a piece going across the top. I'll see as I go, because when I get this wall straightened out, I'll be able to remove these supports. This is the support that was put in when I picked it up. This one and this one I just added in here. We were getting a tremendous amount of rain in this area. With all the rain we've been getting, it's been staying pretty dry in here. I noticed just a little bit of water in this corner. So, and I see a little daylight up in there. So that's gonna have to be taken care of before we button it up. This piece over here has to be supported. I have to check back here to see if this has to be ripped out, or if it's in decent shape, just a little darkened from the water. So this is what I'm looking at. These pieces here are just up here to get them out of the way. And these are the strips. This is the diameter of the strips that support this trailer. Kind of frightening when you see these things going down the road 80, 90 miles an hour, knowing that just these little pieces of wood holding it together with some screws and rivets. So this wall over here is in pretty good shape, but the floor is rotted out on the bottom. I have to make a door for the opening over here. I'm going to use this for the chickens to come in and out of. It's longer than it has to be, not as high as I would like it to be, but it's there. If I see the chickens having a hard time, which they shouldn't, but if they have a hard time getting in and out, I'll just come back and cut this up a little bit and over and make this opening a little bigger. All I needed was another couple inches, but that's it for this side. So the flooring has to be done. I have the paneling for the ceiling and might have enough to cover that side. And if not, this is what I was going to use. I've been picking up some pallets and splitting them up, pulling the nails out and getting the boards. I have some mess out here getting this all together. These are the pallet boards that I've been pulling out, and these pallets were heat treated. I got them from a car dealership, so I don't believe that I have to worry about any chemicals being on them. And my idea is to make a wall using these pallets like this. It's not going to match the rest, but again, it's a chicken coop, not a living room. And oh, let me show you what I picked up yesterday. I wanted to use linoleum for the inside of that floor. There is some down there already, but I wanted to put a fresh layer. And wherever I went, it seemed like it was pretty expensive. So I decided I'm going to just lay another floor down on top of that linoleum wood, and I'll cover it with something. I'm not sure what yet, but to secure that floor, after I patch the rotted openings to secure the floor, the top of it, I went out, I was passing a home the other day, and they were putting a new deck on, and I have these deck boards. Some of them are in decent shape, some are rotted on the edges, and there's always a thin piece that you'll need, so I can rip a few. Some are just rotted on one end where the rest of it's good, but a lot of good pieces. Best part is, besides it being free and local, is there's very few nails in them. Here and there's a nail, but not much. And whatever's left over from here, I have another trailer that I was going to use as a workshop, a long trailer that definitely needs a floor, and I was going to have to buy these to put on the inside. Now these are weathered, but when they're inside and there's no longer any rain going on them, I don't see them rotting away. So that's it as far as the supplies that I picked up so far. Let's get back to that trailer and look underneath and see what I'm looking at. All right, I'm going to get under here and see just how bad this is and how I should proceed. Here's the outside of the trailer. The door that's missing is where it rotted through. You see this plywood here? It's like 1/4 inch plywood. So by me putting the decking over the top of this isn't going anywhere as long as the bottom isn't rotted out. Now let me take a look underneath, because you can see where there was insulation and there's just metal holding that up right now. All right, this is what we have underneath here. Ooh, plenty of rust. All right. This wall is secure. It's not going anywhere. And we can see how we have this stud. This stud's connected to that one. Okay, this metal looks like it's just going to be tacked up here. We want it tacked up. We don't want to give any raccoons or weasels or whatever a chance of ripping this down and trying to get their way into the coop, as this coop is going to be pretty close to the tree line. Let's see what we got under here. Oh, looks like it's opened over there also. Okay, I'm gonna have to get under here and use a pneumatic nail gun, maybe, just to tack that up in places. But again, this is holding the fiberglass. It's a sheeting from the outside to keep the fiberglass from getting wet when you're driving. And as long as the floorboards are secure and I'll have that other flooring on top, I don't think anything will be getting inside. That's okay. Now that's more it's like a 1/2 inch over there. I was looking at it wrong here. That looks like a half inch plywood. And you can see over here, right there, where this wood's cracking, that's from it getting wet. So by putting those boards over the top of this, it's going to support this. I'll cut out a piece of plywood to patch in over here, and then I'll put those boards over the top of it, and we're looking good on this side. Well, let's go to the other side where the problem is. At one point I was looking for pallets that were thicker, because I was going to use these for the floor. Put these down on the floorboard, put them on top. These are a little thicker than the other ones, but I won't be going that direction now. Running out of space, I have more projects. Now this was buttoned up before the transport, but without having the wood behind it, it just pulled open. You can see where this just tore. There was a screw or a rivet, something was holding it there, and with the bouncing around, it was just too much for it. And let's see what it looks like underneath. You have this piece here that's not connected to anything. You have all this in here that's rotted out. And there's There isn't anything under here holding it up. So we have this bolt. Get the camera on this. We have this bolt over here. This must have been holding the flooring down. So that's the only one I see. Nothing holding it down here. So this has to come in. We have this support that's connected to the aluminum. And there should be another one on the inside here that's missing. Looks like it goes all the way back. Yeah, you can see this. I'm gonna cut this out. See this? This is where the leak was, the original leak. Oh, this is bad all the way back. Oh, it's worse than I thought. Okay. Oh, that's not bad. That doesn't look too good there. Okay, so I'm gonna need a piece that goes from there, back there, all the way up. Okay, this is gonna be fun because even though this is rotted, you see this isn't supported anything here. Okay, I'm gonna have to get that out and put another piece in. And the piece has to go from, I'm going to go as far back as it's rotten plus a little bit more and come all the way forward to here. Well, let's see, to here. Trying to keep this in focus. Okay, so this will be cut out. I'll go back a little bit, cut this floor out. Cut out under here, and this has to be secured, not because it'll be on the road, but I don't want anything to be able to dig its way through, claw its way through and get these chickens. These chickens will be slaughtered. They'd be trapped in here. If a predator gets in here, it'll be all over. Now this door is a perfect size for the chickens, but the way I have to pull this trailer in, this is going to be the backside up against the fencing. Too bad it wasn't a switch around. Save me a little work. Now I have a lot of scrap metal that I'm just going to cover this up with. Looks like this came out once before. They have screws in here. I'm going to take the screws out. I'm going to get a piece of that metal and get behind it and have it come down. But then let's see. Well, I have to figure this out. I want it to go under here, but I want it over here. So the water will come, go over the top, not go in here, but come over. Well, I'll figure this part out when I get to it. The main thing right now is to get that support piece in. I think I'm gonna start at the top and cut out the rotten boards. That'll give me more of a view of what I'll have underneath. Yeah. And I'm going to put this piece of cardboard underneath to catch whatever falls, because this is my driveway. Sure enough, there's probably a couple of nails or screws in here that I don't want to be picking up later. Yeah, 10-cent screw could ruin a $300 tire. Anyway, that's my plan for today. I'm going to get started on it. Unless I find something different from what I just explained, I'll be back to show you what it looks like after I'm done putting that support in. Just giving you a little update on what I did and what I found. I used the circular saw, raised the blade less than the thickness of this wood. And the reason I did that, some of this wood is rotten. I don't know if the blade was going to go down. And there are metal supports under here. Exactly where they are, I'm not 100% sure. So I didn't go all the way through with the blade. Then I used the chisels just to break it out, which wasn't difficult at all. This is what the wood looks like on the backside. And I'm finding black ants in here. So this is one piece here. This piece here, I noticed it wasn't coming apart. And then I seen these staples. I said, okay, it wasn't from the linoleum. So I put the chisel in between and split them. And sure enough, it was two pieces of wood. And there was this support that went under. And this is a combination of the rotten wood and the fiberglass that got wet. Outside I put a couple of totes to catch this. Like I said, there might be nails in here, screws. Definitely don't want them in my driveway. And the reason I'm doing this in my driveway because it's closer to my garage where I can get the tools. Now here's one of the main supports right here. You can see where this piece of metal underneath, all it is aluminum, was rotting away. The rust from the metal, when two different metals are touching, they will rust the other one, will rust the other one out. And I may put another piece of metal in here. I have a lot of scrap from a couple of wash machines I took for the motors, and I just might cut them out and cut a piece to put in here. Don't know if it's needed because I will be putting a piece of wood in to fill in here, and I will have the decking boards on top. I'm going to kick that one around a little bit. Now I cut this out and I have to come back here. I might be cutting out some back there too. I have to go underneath again and see how rotten it is, but for sure the stud that comes across on the bottom over here, it's not even here, back there it's rotted. So I do have to replace the stud underneath. And one of the problems, they have a bolt and a nut that goes through the main metal support into the deck to hold it down. I just might cut that off with a Sawzall because it's rusted, it's not going to unbolt, and I don't think I need it. I don't see where it would hurt not to have it in there. Maybe I just put a lag bolt from the bottom coming up. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it. I have to see what's under here. I'm going to take care of this situation and what I'm going to do on that end. All right, this is becoming like a bad dream. The longer you're into it, the worse it gets. I was going to start on this corner first, ripping this floor out and putting that stud in. But then I noticed how rotten it was under here, and I cut a line and I cut another line. This piece I know I had to replace. Plus, there wasn't any of it in that corner. Well, that water must have rolled this way because it's all rotten under here. So I'm going to rip all this flooring up over here and put the studs going across, put the new flooring down. I'm not sure if I'm going to use plywood. I have to see what I have, whether plywood or some of these pallets. I had a load of pallets in the back that I split, that I cleaned up a while back, but these weeds just grew right over them. And nice hardwood too. So I have to cut a straight line over here. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now, and that's where I'm at right now. Okay, I'm really doing some piecework over here. I wasn't expecting to have to pull this part of the floor out, just that corner over there, and I still have the whole length from here to the back wheel to pull out. The support beam on the bottom is rotted out, and I need the support to hold this wall up. So the way this is set up in here, or was set up in here, the 1x2 that was in here was bolted to the metal frame underneath, 4 bolts. I had to cut them out. I started using a Sawzall, wasn't working that well. Then I just went to a cutting wheel. So if you do this, go right to the cutting wheel. Don't waste time with the Sawzall. I swept out the best I could. Then I used the shop vac to get all the small stuff. You want to clean this up because who knows what nails are under here. If it's in your driveway or if you're driving down the road, you don't want nails going all over the place. So this I left in here only because when I pull this out, there's like a piece of molding on the outside that hides these screws. And now when I go to put this piece back in, I believe what I'm going to do is just put it in there, maybe like tap it. I'm not quite sure. And I left this piece, this wasn't rotted because it's tied into that corner. I cut a piece that goes from here over. And these pieces here, out of a 2x4, you could get 3 pieces out of a 2x4. Then I cut the piece that goes in here. The piece that goes in here, it's a full 2x3, but it's cut at an angle. So to get the angle that I needed, I cut one piece out that was fairly solid, and I used that to get my angle on the table saw. Now, Over here, no support. You can see there's no support. Over here, there's a steel beam. There's a steel beam here. Nothing here, which is surprising. And over there, there's a beam. And over there, there's another steel beam. These look like they were just stapled into this wood over here. But with the plywood being on top and these other cross members that went this way, looking backwards now towards me, that went this way, it was enough support. What I did for under here, and it raised it maybe just a little too high, I put a piece of pallet board under here to support this. And I might do the same, run it from here under this one to that one over there to give this a little more support. Now keep in mind, plywood has to go over the top of this, and then I'm going to run those deck boards that I picked up. So for now, this is as clean as I could get it, or I'm going to get it. I'm going to put those pieces in that I cut. Once I have that done, I'm going to go over to this other side and work on that long section. For that, I'm going to have to go outside, work on the ground. I hate laying in the grass. Tick problem in this area is ferocious. But anyway, that's where I'm at. And one other thing that I noticed is this wall over here. I'm going to have to take 2 feet to 3 feet of that wall widthwise down. Either cut it down and rip it all out. I'm not sure if it's rot up in that corner. The only reason to do that, because if there's rot in there, we get a lot of snow over here. You know, you get 2-3 feet of snow on top of this thing. I don't want this collapsing because I have a rotten piece there. So within the next day or two, because I'm not working on this all day long, just doing a little bit here, a little bit there, leaving it and coming back. For the next 2-3 days, I should have this finished. Should have the floor in. Then I can start on these studs.